Okay, welcome to mnemonic learning. This is the beginning episodes. This is level 1, the basics, the absolute start of your journey. If you're already familiar with mnemonic learning and the Dominic system, etc., skip to the next video because this isn't for you. This is for people that are just starting out, that have just discovered, just had this epiphany, worked out that there is more to the brain than they thought. It is actually, in fact, really easy for you to remember pretty much anything anyone ever tells you. Numbers, large numbers, doesn't matter, not a problem at all. Doesn't matter if it's 100 numbers, 50 numbers. You can memorize them fairly quickly. In fact, you could probably memorize them by the end of this video. It's that easy. Phone numbers and stuff like that is a doddle, but there are different methods for learning these things. So let's crack straight in and find out what it's all about. So let's start with the obvious one, the Dominic system. It was created by Dominic O'Brien. It's one of the easiest to learn, and that's a good thing, because if you start with one of the more harder systems, like this, say the major system, which is much more effective but much harder to learn, people are more likely to get frustrated and give up. So we don't want you to be giving up, because the journey is exactly that. It is a journey. Everything in your memory is a journey. So let's start the absolute basics. Every time you've learned something in your life, every occasion you've had to learn something in your life, your brain has took the information you've given it and stored it as a picture. I guarantee you 100%. When you think of the word table, you probably envisage a table in your mind. If you ask you to spell table, you're going to envisage the letters T-A-B-L-E. However, you're not really envisaging the letters, you're envisaging the pictures of those letters. You're seeing T as a picture. When you was a child and your parents said this is table and we're going to spell it, did they write it out for you? I don't think they did they? What they did is they held up some little cards with letters on. T, a picture, it's a picture. That's what they held up for you. Pictures of letters. And once those letters were gone from short-term memory into long-term memory, they were embedded for good. And that's how you learn to spell. Another way of learning things, obviously apart from pictures, is through song or rhyme. You know, children very young learn the ABC song. It's easy. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc, etc, etc. It's got a tune, it's easy to remember. If I had just said to a child, these are the letters you've got to remember, A, B, C, D, E, I've lost that kid already. This is the point. Your mind needs to create pictures to put those into your memory. Even though it's a song, your mind is remembering it through pictures, through imagery. That's what it's doing. Don't get me wrong, it's not just pictures, but with those pictures of your parents showing you a card, or your tutor, your teacher telling you, when you're a little kid, your teacher telling you A, B, C, D, your mind is envisaging her mouthing those words. It's throwing the tune in as well, but it's envisaging those words. And what it's also doing is to store things in your memory. It will take in every bit of scenario it can. If the room was well lit in a bright sunny day when they were teaching you that song, when they recollect that song, that's what they're going to remember. Your teacher, your tutor, your parent singing that song, bright sunny day. If you could have heard birds chirping outside, then that chirping noise will be in the memory as well. If there was a smell of cooking coming down the corridor just before lunch, that smell will also be added to the memory. It takes all those senses and sticks them in your memory. Everything, touch, feel, sight, sound, smell, taste. If you're chewing gum when you want to remember something, it will happen. Your brain's quite clever. It takes all those things and puts them all in your memory, and when you want to recollect them, it uses those things to recollect them. So this gets to the point. You're here for the Dominic system, not how things are learned. The Dominic system. This is for remembering numbers. So we will do the basic ones first. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We will go through them and then we will do the picture scenario. So first we'll do the numbers to the letters. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goes like this. A, B, C, D, S G H N. That's it. Doesn't seem that hard, does it? And it's quite easy to remember because A, B, C, D, E, the first 5 letters, are also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in sequence. The next letter would normally have been F, but on this occasion, swapping it around for S for 6, and then it carries on, G, H. But it misses out the I, and in the place of the I, it puts an N, which is also the 9th letter. So then what you have is A, B, C, D, E, S, G, H, N. N for 9, S for 6. 0 is O. I mean, that's fairly self-explanatory, they look extremely similar. So that's the Dominic system. You've probably already learned it. And I would suggest that, I'll tell you how I did it. I used to walk around the streets, see door numbers and phone numbers and just convert the numbers into letters. You see an S, it's a 6. You see a 9, it's an N. Just convert them back and forth. After a while, you'll have these mastered in your mind brilliantly. And we'll get to why you need to that in another lesson. Now, after the numbering system turns into a lettering system to help you remember things, I'll give you an example of how a lettering system would help you remember things. If you have to remember the number 67, for instance, that equates to, in our new system, an S and a G. You may have a relative called Stuart Goddard, SG, Stuart Goddard. So now the 67 you can place as him. And if someone gives you a long number, 67923172, you would then take those other numbers in pairs and they can be associated with those numbers. Now the easiest way to do this, and the way that everybody seems to do it, is to create a list of numbers and people, famous people, who've got those initials. So Albert Einstein, for instance, is 15. A is 1, E is 5. 1, 5, 15, Albert Einstein. And this goes on. Barack Obama, 20, 20. So if someone ever asks you to remember 1520, as you hear those numbers, you'll pair them off in your head, because you would have learned them off by heart within a week. And someone say, yeah, I want you to remember 1, 5, you think Albert Einstein, 20, Barack Obama. Put those two people together in somewhere that relates to the number that you're remembering. If it's a girl's phone number or a boy's phone number or a train time, it doesn't matter. Obviously it's going to be more digits than that if it's a phone number, but whatever it is, you take those two characters and you put them in the location that's referenced by that number. You anchor them on. You take those two numbers, or 4 numbers in this case, now there's 2 characters and 4 numbers, and you anchor them to something that's relative to that number you're trying to remember. If it's a phone number, take the person's address and you put those two people chatting at the gate or the front door of the house where that person lives. If you don't know where they live, you've never seen where they live, then you put it in the place where you are now, where they'll be telling you the number. If you're stood in front of them in front of a train station, then those two people are chatting at the doorway to the train station. So if it's a phone number and they're reading out more numbers, take the next 4 people and put them at the next stop in the journey at the train station. Those 4 at the front by the door. As you go in, they've got the barriers where you would enter your ticket. There's another 2 characters there, another 4 numbers. There's 8 numbers. If your number's longer than that, you would just keep repeating that sequence, following a path around that train station until you have remembered all the numbers. And this is basically, very basically, how people remember extremely long numbers. This is how you remember numbers, long numbers, even 50 numbers, 100 numbers. You just create a journey with 50 or 100 points of interest on it, but they've got to be a point of interest. You can't be on like a path and you just bolt the numbers next to each other along the path. You won't remember them all. But if you have a path that has a big tree at the start and a bench and halfway down and a gate somewhere else a bit further down, and then the end of the path and a right turn down to another pathway, then you can stick it on that junction, and you'll have your 2 people talking and another 2 people at the next one, another 2 people at the next one, another 2 people at the next one. That's how you remember extremely long numbers. I know it doesn't sound that impressive when it's laid out like that, but it really is that simple. If you took your house, these are called memory palaces by the way, but if you took your house and you plotted the rooms around your house, your bedroom, your master bedroom, your spare bedroom, your office, your toilet, your kitchen, your lounge, your garden, there's 8 places, 8 rooms, 8 locations. You stick 2 people, 4 numbers in each room, 2 people chatting in each room. You have literally just created a 32-digit number in just the 8 rooms around your house. All you need to do to remember that number in order is make sure that the journey around your house goes in one direction. In your mind, you start in one room, then you go to the next, up the stairs, the next, etc, etc. So you start in your garden, you come into a room. You must never cross the path. You can't go up the stairs, do a couple of rooms and come back down the stairs. If you need to do that, just imagine there's a fireman's pole down to the next room if you want to get down the stairs that way. This is why I don't put famous people on stairs, so I can go up the stairs, round the rooms and then back down the stairs, because I'm not going to cross anybody on the stairs. That's where it gets difficult, but it doesn't need to be like that. It could be a golf course. Every hole, 18 holes, 2 people in every hole, that's 36 people. 36 people is 72 digits. A quick walk round your golf course in your mind could enable you to hold 72 numbers. It's that simple. Now, let's do another scenario. You've got your 0 to 9 and you convert them into actual images as opposed to 2 numbers being the image of a person. You can have a separate image for each one. Each number. This is handy in many scenarios, especially like where the numbers are odd. If they're all even, it's easy because it's 2 numbers per person. But if it's odd, then you've got one odd number, what are you going to do? You're just going to remember a letter. So the number 2, for instance, the number 2 is like a swan. If you take the head and the shape of the beak, it's like a swan. 1 could be a candle. 0 will be a football, a circular football, a soccer ball to our American friends out there. Dominic O'Brien, who invented this system, also suggests 9 being a balloon with the string curling down. He thinks of 6 as an elephant's trunk, just curling up. I mean, you can make these up yourself, and if you had to remember a long number and you used all the people and then you find out it's an odd number at the end, just take one of those images and pop it at the end. In our next lesson we will do the major system, which is a bit more difficult, so I suggest you learn the Dominic system first and get used to it, and then we'll do the major system. Thank you for listening. Till the next one.